Hey everybody, this is Mr. Regner, and I wanted to review with you today our chapter 10.2, which is all about histograms. Now you may not be familiar with histograms, but when you take a look at one, you may immediately think of a bar graph. And I want to let you know right up front that a bar graph and a histogram are not the same things. So we'll talk about that in just a moment, but first, with all of our graphic designs here, we need to have some data to start with. So once again, I've come up with some kind of made-up data here. These are student test scores. I don't know what the test was, but I just made up some scores so that we can use them. Now if you look at this, this is a whole lot of data. And one thing that's great about histograms is we can take a ton of data and look at it visually in a very easy to read, easy to understand way. And so with a histogram, I want you to think about this like a recycling center. If you've ever been to a recycling center, a lot of times they'll have like a bin or a big tub for trash, right? Sometimes they have a tub for yard waste. That would be like lawn clippings and branches and things like that. They'll have a tub for plastics and paper, and cardboard sometimes has their own thing. And if I go to a recycling center, I need to put the right things in the right bins. And so on a histogram, we actually are creating our own bins. And so if you take a look here, I've actually designed this histogram. Let's see if this is gonna show up for you here. Here along the bottom, it kind of looks like a bar graph, right? We have the number of students over here on the left side, and on the bottom we have our test scores. Now instead of plotting each independent score from each person, so this person that got a 55 and a 57, I'm not plotting those independently, I'm putting them in the same bin. So I have my bin here from 50 to 60. I have a bin from 61 to 70, from 71 to 80, 81 to 90, and 91 to 100. So I'm putting them into bins. So I'm going to go ahead and through my data first, and I'm going to kind of bunch them up, right? It's kind of like if I'm taking a bunch of papers, I might put some twine around them and bundle them together. So I'm going to do that just by circling. Now it helps because I put all my data into numerical order, right? So I have my 50s, my 60s, my 70s. Let's see, oh, there's a lot of those, okay? My 80s, and then my 90 to 100s are all over here. Okay, now that's going to help me in kind of bundling them to know how to plot this. So I'll start with my 50s. I have 2 of them. So on my chart here, the number of students, each line shows 2 students. So I'm going to go ahead and make a bar here that goes all the way over here to 2. Now on a histogram, you notice I take it all the way from this first line all the way over here to where it's going to stop. And that's really important to have that fill up the entire space, like the entire part of that bin. I don't want it to be a little tiny skinny line like you might see in a bar graph. I want it to be the whole length. For my 60s, I also have 2 of them, so I'm going to go ahead and show 2 of them right there. Again, I could shade those in. Sometimes you'll see that shaded in different colors for a histogram, but I'm just not wasting my marker to do that. Then my 70s, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the 70 range. So I'm going to go ahead and figure this out. I want to be as accurate as I can, even though I'm not using a ruler or anything like that. So I took that all the way up to 8. So you can see the difference between 2 and 8. Immediately my eyes notice that 70s have more than, say, the 60s or 50s. Okay, then I have my 80s. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the 80s. So this one's going to be a little bit of a dip. And again, it's kind of easy to see. Notice all of my bars are touching one another. Again, super important on a histogram that your bars touch. In a bar graph, we would have spaces in between. Histograms, the bars always touch, because think about it, this group from 50 to 60, it goes right into 61. And this one, 70, goes right into 71. So we want them right next to each other, touching, lined up. I have one more to fill out, and that's in my 90s to 100s. So let me count this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Let's see, 14's all the way up here. So that's easy to see really, really quickly that most of my class, or most of the students, scored here in the high range. The next highest range was here in the 70s. And you can see the lowest range would be 50 to 70 according to this histogram. So histograms are yet another way to show your data visually. We can look at it really, really simply and see where this would be. And we're not being as precise. Like, I don't care that there were a bunch of hundreds. They all fall into the same bin along with people that got a 90, right? So histograms are a little bit general in that way, so we can't get specific information, but they're fantastic when you're looking at a humongous data set and you just want to get some general information about it. All right, so this is a histogram. As you take a look at chapter 10.2, please make sure you're following along with the examples, the explorations, try the try-its. Those are great problems to try out, and use this maybe as a little bit of a model for you. So I'm Mr. Regner saying, stay safe.